Daniel pays cash for his car. Sophie finances the same car at a low interest rate. Daniel thinks he made the smarter choice. Daniel is wrong, and the number sitting in Sophie's investment account 10 years later will make you rethink everything you were ever taught about debt. Let's run the real math. Let's make this completely fair. Daniel and Sophie are the same age, same city, same income. They both earn $75,000 a year. They both need a car. They both have $25,000 in savings sitting in a brokerage account earning roughly 10% annually. The only difference is what they decide to do with that money. Daniel does what every financial advice article tells him to do. Pay cash. Avoid debt. Own it outright. He pulls $25,000 from his investment account and pays for the car in full. No monthly payment. No interest. No debt. His dad would be proud. His financial advisor might not be. Sophie keeps her $25,000 in her investment account and does not touch it. She finances the same $25,000 car at a 5% interest rate over 60 months. Her monthly payment is $472. She will pay roughly $3,300 in interest over the life of the loan. Her coworkers tell her she is paying interest for no reason. She smiles and changes the subject. She has done the math. On day one, Daniel owns his car free and clear. Zero debt. Zero monthly payment. Complete ownership. It feels incredible. Sophie has a car loan and a $472 monthly obligation. It doesn't feel as good. But again, feelings and math have never been close friends. Here's the concept that makes this counterintuitive. The question is never whether debt is good or bad in isolation. The question is always, what is the cost of this debt compared to what the alternative does with that money? Daniel's $25,000 is gone. It bought him metal and wheels and a steering column. Sophie's $25,000 is still in the market, still compounding, still working. Let's run the numbers over 5 years. Daniel paid $25,000 up front and pulled that money out of the market. That $25,000 at 10% annual return would have grown to approximately $40,000 to $42,000 by year 5. By paying cash, Daniel gave up $15,000 to $17,000 in potential investment growth. That is the opportunity cost of paying cash. It does not show up on any receipt. Nobody talks about it at the dinner table, but it is real money that Daniel chose not to have. Sophie kept her $25,000 in the market. By year 5, her investment account has grown to approximately $40,000 to $42,000. She also paid $472 a month for 60 months on her car loan. Her total interest paid over 5 years is roughly $3,300. Her net position, $40,000 in investments minus $3,000. $300 in interest paid equals roughly $36,000. $700 to $38,000. $700 ahead of where she started. Daniel's net position at year 5, a car worth roughly $12,000 to $14,000, and no investment growth from that $25,000. Sophie is ahead by approximately $22,000 to $26,000 from one decision made on the day they both bought the same car. Now here's the part that makes this more nuanced than a simple always finance everything argument. The math only works when the interest rate on the loan is lower than the expected return on the investment. Sophie's car loan was 5%. Her investment returned 10%. The spread is 5%. That 5% spread on $25,000 compounding over 5 years is where all of Sophie's advantage comes from. If Sophie's car loan had been at 9% or 10%, the math gets much tighter. If it had been at 12% or higher, Daniel's cash payment would have been the smarter move. The interest rate is the entire argument, not the principle of financing, not the principle of cash, just the number on the loan agreement. Here is what changes this calculation completely. Your credit score determines your interest rate. A person with a 750-plus credit score might get a car loan at 4% to 6%. A person with a 620 credit score might get the same loan at 12% to 15%. Same car, same dealership, very different math. For the person with poor credit, paying cash might genuinely be the right move. For the person with excellent credit, financing at a low rate while keeping investments intact is almost always mathematically superior. By year 10, the gap is undeniable. Daniel's $25,000 that he pulled from the market has been gone for a decade. If he had left it alone, that $25,000 at 10% annual return would have grown to approximately $64,000 to $68,000 by year 10. He chose the car payment of zero over the investment growth of $39,000 to $43,000. That is a $39,000 to $43,000 decision dressed up as financial responsibility. Sophie's $25,000 that stayed in the market has been compounding for 10 years. Her investment account from that original $25,000 alone is sitting at approximately $64,000 to $68,000. She paid $3,300 in total interest on her car loan. Her net gain from the decision to finance instead of pay cash, approximately $35,700 to $39,700, just from one car purchase. 10 years ago. Now let's add the monthly payment dimension. When Daniel paid cash, he had no monthly car payment, but he also had $25,000 less in investments from day one. If Daniel had taken that same $472 that Sophie was paying monthly and invested it instead of spending it, his position would look very different. But most Daniels do not do that. Most Daniels pay cash, feel financially virtuous, and quietly absorb that freed up cash flow into their monthly spending without investing it. The cash payment feels like discipline, but discipline without a system is just intention. Sophie's system was automatic. Her investment account kept the $25,000. Her car loan payment came out automatically. There was no decision to make every month, no willpower required. The math worked in the background while she lived her life. Here is the risk argument that cash buyers always make, and they are not entirely wrong. What if the market crashes? What if Sophie's $25,000 drops to $15,000 in a bad year while she still owes $20,000 on the car? Her net position would temporarily look worse than Daniel's. That is a real scenario. Market downturns happen. 2008 happened. 2020 happened. And in both cases, the market recovered and went on to new highs within a few years. If Sophie did not panic sell during the crash, her long-term position still wins. The risk is real, but it is a timing risk, not a permanent loss risk for a diversified index fund investor. There is also the psychological argument for paying cash. Some people genuinely sleep better with zero debt. Some people know from experience that they will spend the money rather than invest it if they pay cash. For those people, the mathematical advantage of financing means nothing if the behavioral reality undermines it. Personal finance is personal. The best strategy is the one you will actually execute consistently. But here is what nobody tells you about the pay cash crowd. Most people who pay cash for a car feel financially disciplined in the moment. Very few of them track what happened to their opportunity cost over the next 10 years. They see zero monthly payment and call it a win. They never see the $39,000 to $43,000 that quietly did not grow because they pulled it from the market. That invisible loss is the most expensive kind, because you never get a bill for it. You just end up with less. Daniel and Sophie both drove the same car off the same lot on the same day. One of them has a clean balance sheet and a modest net worth. The other has a small loan on her books and a significantly larger investment portfolio. The debt is gone in 5 years. The compounding advantage lasts forever. So the next time someone tells you to always pay cash for a car, ask them one question. What is your investment account returning compared to the interest rate on the loan? Because if your investments earn more than your loan costs, every dollar you pull from the market to pay cash is a dollar that just took a pay cut. And cars are very expensive pay cuts.